an unforgettable voice, a troubled life. Whitney Houston's death silenced a musical legend and left behind a grieving young daughter. 3 years later,
21-year-old female in the bathtub, face down, PD's en route.
Bobby Christina Brown is found lifeless in the tub, just like her mother. Tonight, the triumphs and tragedies of a mother, a musician, and her famous family. Central Park, 2009. Whitney Houston and her daughter Bobby Christina Brown performed for Good Morning America. Bobby Christina Brown wanted to follow in the footsteps of her mother and her father, Bobby Brown, to sing and act.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
But for now, her biggest stage was social media, singing Adele's ballad on Twitter, posing poolside in a bikini, and with her true love, Nick Gordon. But that love may have come with a price: family tension and division.
The family and the sources that I spoke with all said they were very concerned about her relationship with Nick Gordon. They believe deeply that he is not good for her. And I will tell you, the thing that struck me when I was having these conversations, this same conversation sounded like what we were hearing about Bobby and Whitney all those years ago.
In bad times and good, what's never changed is Bobby Christina's love for her mother. In 2012, she told Oprah Winfrey it's her mother's voice that keeps her afloat.
I can hear her voice, in spirit talking to me and telling me, keep moving, baby. I'm right here. I got you. She's always with me. I can always feel her. I can always feel her with me.
This past August, she celebrated Whitney's birthday, tweeting a photo of a birthday cake with the caption, "Happy birthday, Mommy." Bobby Christina has left little doubt about the void created by her mother's death, which made this tragic news even more shocking.
Cardiac arrest, level response, possible cardiac arrest. 21-year-old female in the bathtub, face down, PD's en route.
This is CNN Breaking News.
The late superstar Whitney Houston's daughter has been found unresponsive in a bathtub full of water.
Her husband and a friend located her in the bathtub, and they immediately started CPR on her. She was transported to North Fulton Hospital.
Her condition was so grave, doctors put her into an induced coma. Meanwhile, investigators are trying to determine what happened to Bobby Christina inside her Atlanta home. Her father issued this statement: "We are currently investigating the events that led to the hospitalization of Bobby Christina. We continue to request privacy in this matter." There are still so many unknowns. Was it an accident or something worse? Who was she with the night before? Were drugs involved?
Right now, they did not see anything on the scene that would indicate that. No alcohol or drugs laying around that would indicate that.
One thing is clear. By any measure, this is a tragedy, leaving family and fans reeling and remembering back to much brighter days. Whitney Houston, the shy Jersey girl who belted her way to superstardom, 6 Grammys, and a record 7 consecutive #1 singles. For a time, she was pop's greatest love of all.
To hear her voice was a miracle, because for anybody to be able to do with a voice what she did with hers speaks to a divine order.
Whitney Houston, the icon, unimaginably talented, but also fatally flawed.
There were many different sides to Whitney. There was the performer, the consummate professional. There was the addict. And you never knew which Whitney you were going to get.
If Houston was blessed by the heavens, she was most certainly cursed with her own demons. Whitney Houston died here at the Beverly Hilton on February 11th. The voice of a generation silenced forever. A tragic ending to a life filled with promise that was almost preordained. With a gospel legend for a mother and a cousin named Dionne Warwick, Houston was born to sing.
When you first saw Whitney, when you first heard Whitney, you knew that there was something special happening here.
Legendary music producer Clive Davis certainly knew. He discovered Houston and changed her life forever. He packaged and polished the 19-year-old sensation into a pure pop princess, at least on the surface. Alexis Chu, now executive editor at In Touch Weekly, reported on Whitney's death for People magazine.
One source who worked with Whitney told us that she definitely was not a goody two-shoes in any sense of the word.
Houston's bad girl side may have ultimately drawn her to R&B bad boy Bobby Brown.
She was a girl from the streets of Newark, and she fell in love with a bad boy with a good voice. So, you know, her fans, yes, very shocked. Those who knew her best really weren't surprised.
Houston and Brown traded rings in 1992, a personal high matched only by a professional one that very same year. The Bodyguard grossed more than $400 million and launched the top-selling soundtrack of all time. But even as the crossover superstar commanded millions for movies like The Preacher's Wife, she increasingly struggled with her fame.
Did she ever talk to you about the stress of fame?
She said to me, "You don't know what it's like being me. I'm stressed out all the time."
That stress was only compounded by Houston's often rocky marriage.
They were very happy at first, but pretty soon their relationship turned pretty volatile. And when she was under pressure, she tended to turn to drugs and alcohol.
When Houston began a string of missed appearances and cancellations, many pointed their finger at Bobby Brown for his wife's mounting troubles with drugs.
I hate to say that she had started before she had met Bobby Brown.
We gotta live with
Houston's increasingly erratic behavior even played out before the cameras in the short-lived reality show Being Bobby Brown. But when Brown spoke to CNN in 2005, he insisted he and his famous wife were finally sober.
I'm working on a year and a half of sobriety, and my wife is she's working on her year. So we're really doing good, and I'm proud of her.
Yet her attempts at recovery only ended in relapse for Houston, and the years of drug abuse had taken their toll.
I was shocked at her condition, her vocal condition.
What happened to Whitney Houston's voice?
I think that the psychological impact of being who she was drove her into lifestyle habits that ultimately were destructive.
By May 2011, Whitney Houston was divorced. Her attempt at a comeback a year earlier was in shambles. With all these crushing personal setbacks, she entered into a voluntary outpatient program for drug and alcohol treatment. Friends say she just needed a break.
I know that she was pacing herself because she was preparing for the movie. I don't know exactly what she went through to do that.
That movie was Sparkle, and by the time Whitney Houston began doing press for the film, she did seem like a different woman. Access Hollywood's Sean Robinson did the last one-on-one interview with her.
When I looked Whitney Houston in her eyes, I thought that this woman is coming back.
But looks can be deceiving, especially when you're talking about Whitney Houston. Her final days when we return. With a new movie and a new sparkle of her own, a seemingly healthy Whitney Houston started the new year poised to perhaps make that long-awaited comeback. But behind the scenes, some now all too familiar and alarming behavior. Alexis Chu, now with In Touch Weekly, reported on Whitney's death for People magazine.
Her friends told us that even though she had successfully gone to rehab and had this great experience filming Sparkle, there are always temptations, and unfortunately she started partying again and spending time with perhaps the wrong people and just fell right back into that sad spiral.
3 days before the annual Grammy Awards show, Whitney Houston was staying here at the Beverly Hilton. It is here where over several days, sources say the pop superstar was seen consuming considerable amounts of alcohol and acting erratically. Garrett Kennedy of the LA Times was covering a pre-Grammy press event at the Beverly Hilton when the singer raised eyebrows at the hotel pool, seen here in this TMZ photo.
One of the conversations I had with a Grammy staffer was that security were getting calls from guests that she was doing handstands by the pool. It was like, oh, that's pretty bizarre.
And then there was this. Kennedy says Houston smelled of cigarettes and alcohol when she burst in on her mentor, Clyde Davis.
Come say hi to, come say hi to your godfather. Okay. Come say hi to your goddad.
I'm just like, oh my God, like, you're a mess right now. And you're embarrassing yourself. I'm embarrassed for you.
But the pop star appeared anything but disheveled or disoriented later that night. Whitney Houston attended a pre-Grammy party at this Hollywood nightclub. And as she walked the red carpet, witnesses say she had it together and was on her best behavior. Adam Ambrose is a publicist for True Hollywood.
She walked along here with holding hands, in fact, with Bobby Christina, and they were. I mean, they both looked radiant when they arrived. They were, looking fantastic.
Houston was even up for a little impromptu entertaining. She surprised everyone when she joined her friend, R&B Grammy nominee Kelly Price, on stage.
The place erupted. I mean, it was very sweet. It was actually really touching when she went on.
Fun times, but too much of a good time? Not so, says Kelly Price. While she says that Houston had champagne at the party, she denies reports that things got out of hand with her friend.
This was not a woman who was depressed, upset, high, drunk. She was clearly in her right mind. She was not acting erratic.
But Access Hollywood's Sean Robinson says the pictures taken that Thursday night tell a whole different story.
I said, who is that? What the hell happened? What happened in 3 months that took her from this person who seemed to really have it all together to this person who looked very disheveled and just kind of not there?
In a sad reality, Houston hadn't been herself in years, at least not the one fans had come to love at the height of her superstardom. Her struggles with addiction, the loss of her once incomparable voice, the pressures of fame had all but destroyed Houston's once magnificent facade. And by Saturday, February 11th, any hope of a comeback would be over. Hours away from attending Clive Davis's annual pre-Grammy celebration, Whitney Houston was in her fourth-floor suite here at the Beverly Hilton, when a music executive staying on the floor above hers was jolted awake by a loud thud.
A member of her entourage went in and discovered her unconscious in the bathtub, partially submerged. The member of the entourage called 911 immediately.
Within minutes, paramedics arrived, making desperate attempts to revive her.
Her brother Gary was in the room, and his wife Pat, obviously praying for a miracle.
Houston's close friend, Kim Burrell, received a troubled call and raced over to the hotel.
You could feel that something was terribly wrong, and by then I saw the yellow police tape down the hall. So I rushed in the room and I said, what's going on here? And Pat told me she's gone.
Whitney Houston was dead. On the eve of music's biggest night, one of its biggest icons was gone. She was only 48.
Bobby Christina broke down in the hotel lobby and just was screaming over and over again, "What's wrong with her? What's wrong with her?" So we can only imagine what was going through this girl's mind, but her mother was her world.
I wanted everything to just stop. Wait a minute. Because what I felt was happening, I didn't want to be happening.
But there was no stopping it. A victim of her own addiction, toxicology tests revealed Houston had cocaine, Xanax, and marijuana in her body, as well as a muscle relaxant Flexeril and the allergy medicine Benadryl. The Los Angeles County coroner determined the cause of death was accidental drowning with the effects of heart disease and cocaine use as contributing factors. A life built on triumph ended in tragedy. But for those who knew her, the megastar known as The Voice will always sing on.
When someone like that dies, the music takes on a new meaning. The music takes on a meaning now that Whitney is not here. And a song that makes me very emotional, it was that song All at Once. And the lyrics are so strong.
All at once.
And then it hit me that you're not coming back all at once.
Finally hit me all at once.
Coming up, questions about whether some close to Whitney helped her addiction.
Don, you got enablers. That person is the cash cow. So what are they going to say?
It was February 12, 2011, a year before Whitney Houston died, a pre-Grammy party.
Miss Whitney Houston.
Whitney was back from years of erratic behavior and drug use.
Walk on by.
Where's the voice?
You're saying she couldn't sing?
No.
The moment I wake up.
Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sam Moore was in the audience. An old Houston family friend, he and his wife Joyce knew the girl everyone called Nippy growing up was in trouble.
She came in and she looked over and she saw me. And I said, Nippy, hey, baby. Oh, she started up. And she fell on her knees. I said, no, don't get on your knees. And she like this. And she's sweating and she's starting to prefer. And I said, Joyce, she said, hi. I said, hi.
High on drugs, far from the girl he first met decades earlier.
I thought she was the cutest little thing.
Whitney came to call him Uncle Sam, and as quickly as Moore watched the girl he called Nippy rise, he watched her fall. It was the early 90s.
When I first realized that she was using, I saw her on TV. She always was perspiring. She was doing this to her face, wiping the sweat.
At that moment, he knew she was an addict. He knew because Sam Moore was an addict himself. Sam's wife, Joyce, believes Whitney's own family helped fuel her habit.
Members in Whitney's family, immediate and extended, that had their problems with drugs.
The family declined to comment and did not respond to our questions about these claims. Whitney's brother Michael talked about it with Oprah Winfrey when he and his mother both gave their first interview since Whitney Houston's death.
We played together, you know, and everything that you do together as you're growing up, and then when you get into drugs, you do that together too. And it just got out of hand, you know, just drug is rough.
Something Sam Moore knows all too well, which is why he tried to intervene that fateful night 4 years ago. But her entourage pulled her away too quickly. Then, he says, he talked to Whitney's cousin, Dionne Warwick.
I said, Dionne, she's struggling, man. This ain't it. This ain't cool. You know what she said to me? malicious gossip, Sam, what are you doing? I'm just telling you, she's getting high. Sam, stop. Stop. You're starting rumors. There's nothing wrong with her.
Warwick's spokesperson says Dion didn't feel it was her place to discuss Houston's personal matters. Sam stepped away. Moments later, Whitney's daughter approached him.
Here comes Bobby Christina. Uncle Sam. I said, hey, baby. It's Uncle Sam. I said, yeah, what? Help my mommy. And before I could say anything, this guy literally pulling her away from me.
A moment that haunts Moore to this day.
She was one of the greatest voices. And you knew what she was doing? Well, why you didn't help save that voice? That she could have had a legacy. But where is it? It died with these people. That's the legacy.
Now her only child, Bobby Christina Brown, is in peril. Unbelievably, she too was found in a bathtub and now lies in a coma clinging to life. Mother and daughter, who shared a love of music, a love for each other, an extraordinary bond. Time will tell if they will also share the same fate.